You know that person everyone calls cold? The one who doesn't react when everyone else is falling apart. The one who sits quietly while the room is chaos. The one who responds to bad news with a nod instead of a breakdown. People look at that person and think, they don't feel anything. They think something is missing. They think the silence means emptiness. They're wrong. That person feels everything. They feel it so deeply and so constantly that at some point, their brain did the only thing it knew how to do to survive. It shut the display off. The feelings didn't stop. You just stopped being allowed to see them. If you've ever been called cold by someone who has no idea what's happening inside you, this video is about to explain your entire life. Let's start with what's actually happening in the brain of someone the world calls cold. Neuroscientists at UCLA studied emotional suppression using fMRI brain scans. What they found is something most people would never guess. When someone who appears emotionally flat is shown a distressing image, their amygdala, the brain's emotional processing center, doesn't show less activity than average. It shows more, significantly more. The brain of the so-called cold person is not underreacting. It is overreacting so intensely that a second system kicks in to contain it. That second system is the prefrontal cortex. It acts like an emergency brake. It intercepts the emotional signal before it reaches your face, your voice, your body language. So on the inside, you're on fire. But on the outside, you're a wall. I call this the shutdown response. The shutdown response is not emotional absence. It is emotional overflow that got rerouted. And understanding the difference changes everything about how you see these people. Now here's how the shutdown response gets built. It almost never starts in adulthood. It starts in a very specific kind of childhood. Developmental psychologists at the University of Minnesota studied attachment patterns in children and found something consistent. Children who learned to suppress emotional expression almost always grew up in environments where showing emotion was either punished, ignored, or made things worse. Maybe you cried and were told to stop being dramatic. Maybe you were angry and were told you were being difficult. Maybe you showed excitement and it was met with indifference. And each time your emotion was rejected, your brain took a note. Emotion equals danger. Showing it makes things worse. Feeling it is fine, but displaying it is not safe. So your brain built a wall between the feeling and the expression, not because you chose to be cold, because being warm got you hurt. And that wall worked. It protected you. It kept the environment stable. It made the adults around you comfortable. But nobody told your brain that you grew up. Nobody sent the memo that it's safe now. So here you are at 35 years old, still running a system that was designed for a dining table you haven't sat at in 20 years. But the shutdown response doesn't just affect how others see you. It creates 3 specific patterns that quietly shape your entire life. The first pattern is delayed emotional processing. Most people feel an emotion in real time. Something sad happens and they cry at the funeral. Something frustrating happens and they raise their voice in the meeting. You don't do that. Your brain intercepts the emotion, files it, and moves on. And then 3 days later, you're standing in the shower and a wave of sadness hits you so hard you can't breathe. And you don't even know what it's about. It's about the thing that happened on Tuesday that you didn't let yourself feel on Tuesday. Your emotions aren't absent. They're on a delay. And the delay makes them hit harder because by the time they arrive, you've lost the context. You just feel pain with no label. And that unlabeled pain is the loneliest feeling in the world because you can't explain it to anyone, not even yourself. The second pattern is the proving trap. Because you appear calm on the surface, people assume you're fine, always. And at some point you realize that nobody is coming to check on you. Not because they don't care, but because your shutdown response is so convincing that they genuinely believe you don't need it. So you start proving your pain in small ways. You don't ask for help. You wait for someone to offer it without being asked. And when they don't offer because they don't see anything wrong, you take it as confirmation. They don't care. Nobody notices. I'm alone in this. But the truth is you built the invisibility yourself. You made the mask so perfect that nobody thinks to look behind it. And blaming people for not seeing through a wall you spent years perfecting is the cruelest loop the shutdown response creates. Because you're not angry at them. You're exhausted from the performance. The third pattern is the one that actually breaks people. Emotional debt collapse. The shutdown response doesn't delete emotions, it stores them. Every feeling you intercepted, every reaction you suppressed, every moment you should have cried but didn't, it all goes into a vault. And that vault has a capacity. And one day, something tiny happens. A song comes on. Someone uses a specific tone. A stranger is kind to you for no reason. And the vault opens. Not slowly, all at once. And suddenly you're sobbing in your car at a gas station and you have no idea why. But it's not about the song. It's not about the stranger. It's about every single thing you didn't let yourself feel for the last 6 months. Or 6 years. And in that moment, the world finally sees what was always there. The person they called cold was carrying more heat than anyone in the room. They just never let it reach the surface, until the surface cracked. Here's what I need you to understand about the shutdown response. It saved you. It genuinely saved you. It was the smartest thing your child brain could have built with the tools it had, but the wall that protected you from a dangerous environment is now the wall that keeps safe people out. And the bravest thing you will ever do is not learning to feel. You already feel too much. That was never the problem. The bravest thing is learning to let someone see it. Not everyone, not all at once, but one person, one moment, one crack in the wall where you let someone in and they don't leave, because the right people won't run when they see what's behind the mask. The right people have been waiting for you to take it off. You were never cold. You were burning quietly, and anyone who calls that cold simply never learned to read smoke. Now there's one specific situation where the shutdown response causes the most damage, and it's the reason people with this pattern keep choosing partners who confirm everything the wall was built to protect them from. That's what we're getting into next.